never thought one sin, just one, could drag me so far from God that I'd find myself staring at the gates of hell. It didn't happen overnight. It was slow, subtle, almost unnoticeable, until the day my heart stopped beating, and an angel came for me, not to take me to heaven, but to show me the place I was headed if I didn't change. I thought I was a Christian. I thought I was safe. I was wrong. Before I tell you everything, I want to take a moment to thank every single person who supports this channel. Your prayers, your comments, your testimonies, they're not just words on a screen. They're seeds planted in someone's heart every time they watch. Many of you have shared how these stories have drawn you closer to God, and that is why we keep doing this. I believe today's testimony will hit home for someone who's been just like me, lukewarm, distracted, thinking they still have time to get serious with God. If you've been following this channel, you know we don't sugarcoat. We speak the truth because eternity is too long to be wrong about. So please stay until the very end. What you're about to hear is real. It's raw, and it's urgent. My name is Angela, and if you had met me a few years ago, you probably would have thought I was a good Christian. I went to church almost every Sunday, I could quote Bible verses, and I even served in the choir. But behind closed doors, I was living a double life. It all started in 2019. I had just gone through a painful breakup. My self-esteem was shattered, and instead of running to God, I ran to comfort. Comfort in people, in entertainment, in secret sins that nobody at church would have suspected. I wasn't out in clubs every night or doing drugs, but my heart was far from God. My prayer life was non-existent. I read the Bible only when I needed to prepare for a song or a church program. I watched hours of shows and movies that glorified the very things God hates. And slowly, my conscience became numb. The sin that took me off track started so small. It was just a harmless online friendship that turned into inappropriate late-night chats. I told myself it wasn't real, because there was no physical contact, but deep down I knew I was opening a door to the enemy. I also carried a lot of pride. I looked at people who openly sinned and thought, at least I'm not like them. I didn't realize I was walking down the same road, just dressed in church clothes. When I thought about hell, I didn't really believe I could end up there. I figured, I believe in Jesus, so I'm safe. If anyone had asked me then, I would have said, yes, I'm saved. But my lifestyle told a different story. I was living in willful sin and justifying it. Then came December 12, 2021. A date I will never forget. It started as a normal day. I woke up late, skipped church, and spent most of the afternoon scrolling through my phone. That night, I remember feeling unusually tired. My heart was racing and I thought maybe I was just stressed. I didn't know it then, but my life was about to change forever. It was around 10:45 p.m. when I lay down in bed, expecting to drift off to sleep. The last thing I remember in the physical world was the sound of my phone buzzing beside me, and the faint hum of my ceiling fan. Then darkness. First I thought I was dreaming. My eyes opened, but I wasn't in my room. I was standing in a long empty hallway with no doors, no windows, no light source, yet I could see. The air was heavy, almost suffocating, and the silence was so deep it pressed on my eardrums. Suddenly I felt a pull, like an invisible force grabbing me from behind my ribs and dragging me forward at an impossible speed. I wanted to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. The hallway twisted, and the air grew hotter with each passing second. Then came the smell, sharp, bitter, choking. The smell of sulfur, like 1,000 burnt matches mixed with rotting flesh. I knew instantly, this isn't a dream. I landed hard on what felt like solid ground, but when I looked down, it wasn't ground at all. It was black, cracked earth glowing with red fissures that seemed to breathe heat. The sky above was nothing but thick darkness, but far away, there was a faint orange glow and screams. The sound hit me like a wave, high-pitched wails, deep guttural groans, cries of agony that no human throat should be able to make. Each scream was filled with despair so raw it felt like it could tear the air apart. Where am I? I cried out. That's when I saw him, a figure clothed in white, standing several feet away. His presence was unlike anything else in that place. It was the only thing that didn't feel corrupted. His face was stern, not smiling, and his eyes were filled with both sadness and authority. You do not know where you stand, he said, his voice deep and unshakable. But you must see it." Before I could ask what he meant, the ground beneath us split open, and I was looking down into what I can only describe as a pit of fire. Flames shot up like waves, and within them, I saw shapes, human shapes thrashing, clawing, screaming. One man's skin was peeling off, only to regrow and burn again. A woman with empty eye sockets was wailing, her voice echoing through the pit. I covered my ears, but I could still hear every cry. The angel looked at me and said, "These are the ones who knew of him, yet refused to repent. Some believed with their lips but denied him with their lives." I felt my knees buckle. The heat scorched my skin, though I was not yet in the flames. My heart pounded as memories of my own compromises flashed before me. The late-night conversations, the lies, the pride, the excuses. "Why am I here?" I whispered, terrified of the answer. He didn't hesitate. "Because you are on this road. You think one sin cannot lead you here. But sin that is not confessed and turned from will always lead to death." Tears blurred my vision. I wanted to run, but the air around me seemed to hold me still. My mind screamed, "I believe in Jesus. I go to church." But another voice inside me whispered, "But your heart is far from him." Then, without warning, I felt the ground tilt. My feet slid toward the edge of the pit, the heat growing unbearable. The screams grew louder, so loud it felt like my skull would crack. I reached out in desperation. "Please, I don't want to go in." The angel's voice cut through my panic. "You will not enter this place today, but you will remember what you have seen, and you will tell them." The angel's words echoed in my ears, but before I could respond, the ground beneath me gave a violent shudder. The pit roared like a living thing, flames surging higher as if trying to claim me. My legs trembled so badly I could barely stand. I could feel the heat drying my tears before they even fell from my cheeks. "Look," the angel commanded. I didn't want to, but my head turned as if under someone else's control. I saw a young woman, maybe in her 20s, reaching upward from the flames. Her hair was gone, her skin blistered and raw. Her mouth opened, but instead of words, a shriek tore out so piercing I thought it would split my soul. "Why her? What did she do?" I managed to ask. The angel's voice was calm but heavy. "She lived for herself. She thought there would be time to repent. She was given many warnings, but her heart loved the world more than the one who made it." A chill ran through me that no heat could burn away. I suddenly knew, it wasn't just murderers, thieves, or liars here. It was the disobedient, the prideful, the ones who wore the name Christian, but never surrendered their hearts. People like me. The angel stepped closer until his presence filled my view. His robe shimmered faintly like light passing through water, and his eyes, oh, his eyes looked straight into the core of my being. "You are still alive, Angela. You are seeing what awaits you if you continue on your path. The sin that you have excused has chained you, and those chains will pull you here. Do not be deceived. Many who thought they were safe are here now." I broke down, sobbing. "I don't want this. Please take me away from here. I'll change, I promise. Please." He reached out his hand, not to pull me into heaven, but to lift me from the edge of the pit. The moment his hand touched me, the heat lessened, the screams faded into the background, and a bright, blinding light pierced the darkness. The voice that spoke then wasn't the angel's. It was stronger, deeper, filled with a love so fierce it made me shake. "My child, you have been warned because I love you. But do not think you have endless time. What you do after this will decide where you spend eternity. Go back and tell them. Tell them that I am merciful, but I am also just. Tell them that no sin is worth this place." The light engulfed me, and for a brief moment, I felt something I can't describe, like pure holiness washing over every part of me. It wasn't just relief. It was conviction, the knowledge that I had been spared, but only for a reason. Then, with a sudden gasp, I was back in my bed, drenched in sweat, my heart pounding as if it would burst. The smell of sulfur still lingered faintly in the air. The morning after my experience, I didn't wake up the same person. Every sound, every movement around me felt sharper, more alive, because I knew I'd been given another chance I didn't deserve. My phone buzzed with the same late-night messages from the friend who had been part of my sin, but I didn't even open them. I deleted his number that very moment. I went on a deep cleaning, not just of my apartment but of my life. I deleted every show, every song, every chat that fed the old me. I called people I had hurt and apologized. I confessed my secret sins to God with tears that felt like they would never stop. It wasn't about being a better Christian anymore. It was about surrender. I began fasting not because I had to, but because I wanted nothing to distract me from God. The Bible that used to collect dust on my nightstand now had bent pages and tear stains. I also couldn't keep quiet about what happened. At church, I told my pastor, my friends, anyone who would listen. Some believed me right away. Others looked at me like I was being dramatic. But I didn't care. How could I care about opinions when I had seen hell? I noticed my prayers changing too. I no longer prayed just for blessings or protection. I prayed for purity, for strength to resist temptation, for boldness to tell the truth even if it made people uncomfortable. Every time I felt the pull of my old ways, I remembered the screams, the heat, the angel's words, and it kept me on my knees before God. I had been spared, not so I could go back, but so I could live ready. And I intend to stay ready until my last breath. If you're watching this, please understand, hell is not a story to scare you. It's a reality I have seen. I once thought I could live in compromise and still make it to heaven. I was wrong. The truth is simple. No sin is worth your soul. If there's anything in your life you know God has been telling you to let go of, let it go now. Jesus said, I am coming quickly. We don't get to choose when our time is up. I'm living proof that His mercy warns us before His judgment falls. Don't waste it. Friend, you've heard my story. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe hell is real? Have you ever had an experience that changed how you see eternity? Share your thoughts or your own testimony in the comments. Your story might be the warning someone else needs to hear. And if you've been living in compromise, take this as your wake-up call. Turn back to God while you still have breath. Thank you for listening, and for standing with this community and spreading the truth. Until next time, stay ready. Eternity is closer than you think.